Oh, hi there, I think I found something interesting. Apparently, your voice matters. Or that's what He for She campaign wants to say. The campaign, famously launched by Emma Watson's speech at the UN. The speech was okay midway through, and then it just turned into horrible, typical nonsense. But I looked at their website, and it's filled with hilarious things, but it's very well illustrated by this single picture from their website. Your voice matters. He for she wants every voice to be heard in classrooms and corner offices around the world. Everyone has a say. Everyone has a role. Every unique contribution is essential to achieving gender equality. To reach gender equality, obviously, they have a picture of only women. The whole site is filled with this kind of thing that yes, we're all for gender equality. Everyone has a say, but women, girls, women, and girls, and women, girls, women. So let's look at the he for she commitment. This is what the whole campaign is mostly about. People from different countries can sign up. Not sure if it means anything to them, or they just put their name, email address in and chose a gender and just press I am he for she. This isn't the original wording. If you want the original, you can find it on the interweb somewhere. It's been archived, but they made it gender neutral. It wasn't previously. It was mostly about I as a man, I'm he for she, and I will fight against gender-based violence, as in violence against women, of course, and discrimination. But women couldn't sign it. Now they have the he and she there. And of course, because gender isn't binary, you can decide your own gender. You can make one up if you want. Absolutely brilliant. And this is another example of we will take action against gender bias, discrimination and violence to bring the benefits of equality to us all. It's something that means absolutely nothing, but the campaign is he for she, which isn't gender neutral, which isn't gender egalitarian. It's not. But here they don't put the specific gender in which they are trying to save or protect. But let's not kid ourselves, we know what they mean. It's he for she. I'm gonna be honest here. I can't look at this with a straight face. Are they serious? Are they having a laugh? Is this just a joke? Like, I mean, how? The symbol of gender equality is he for she. How is this gender equality? How? In what way is this gender equality if there's one gender protecting, saving, helping the other gender, and that's it? Its dynamic shape and strong contrast remind us what's possible when unique individuals stand together for the benefit of all. But the campaign is he for she. All would mean he and she, not just she. How? What? I literally can't even. So let's look at the documents they put out. What is he for she? It's created by UN Women, the United Nations entity for gender equality. Wait. How do you have gender equality and the name is just UN Women? How is that gender egalitarian? And the empowerment of women. The He for She Solidarity Movement for Gender Equality provides a systematic approach. How is this a systematic approach? You just have a hashtag, you have people sign a pledge, and you sold some t-shirts. Whatever. And target the platform on which men and boys can engage. Men and boys can engage anywhere they want. It's whether they are listened to and respected when they do. Because there of course are feminists who have blatantly said that they do not want men to take over feminism. They do not want men saying things in the feminist discourse because they might take over. And of course, if men and boys come out and talk about their things and it doesn't agree with feminism, then of course they're gonna get shut down. And become change agents towards the achievement of gender equality. Are you insane? Do they mean this literally? If they do, it's absolutely insane. What do you mean change agents? Are they like Jehovah's Witnesses? They come knocking to your door. Have you heard about the he for she campaign? Have you accepted he for she into your heart? What? This is just another example of feminism slowly becoming a cult if they already haven't. Change agents? Are you people insane? That sounds so sinister. Anyway, achieving gender equality in our lifetimes requires an innovative, inclusive approach that both recognizes men and boys as partners for women's rights and acknowledges the ways in which they also benefit from this equality. This is just such standard nonsense. We're including men and boys because we need them to do things for us. We need them to fix shit for us. And then we're gonna tell them why they need to do this. They need to do this because they somehow benefit from this as well. Actually, women benefit and they somehow indirectly benefit from this. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it, obviously. I have seen sentences like these before, but I didn't until quite recently understand why reading these sentences felt so weird. There was something off, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I understand it now. The core assumption here is that men and boys would not help women achieve rights. They would not help women unless they themselves benefited from it. First of all, that just shows how poorly they think of men and boys. Because to me, the assumption would be that if women have problems, men and boys are gonna help. Men are gonna help. Why wouldn't they? At least some of them are gonna take the time and gonna help. There's no question about it. That's just a humane thing to do. That's just how empathy works. You don't have to get anything from it yourself. It's not a transaction. It's just you're helping someone to do something, or you're helping them achieve some sort of a state or goal that they want to achieve. Like, why wouldn't you help them if it helps the people you're helping? So they make the assumption that men and boys by default are selfish. It's all about material gain for them, or it's you have to get something from everything, otherwise you're not gonna move a muscle. Completely disregarding how much men and boys do charity work or volunteer to help, or also completely disregard all of that. And the other interesting point about this is that it looks like projection. The people who write these didn't go through the same thought process as I did just now. It means they're projecting. It means that if men and boys say that we have problems, we need women's help, they will be there asking, what will we gain from this? What's in it for us? And then men and boys would have to explain to them that no, you're going to benefit from this as well. It looks like a case of projection to me. There's a lot of crazy stuff on this website, but I think that sentence hits me the hardest. It just shows so much how little they think of men and boys, and how selfish they themselves can be. I have empathy for others, and I wouldn't write this sentence. I just wouldn't. It wouldn't make sense to me, but whoever wrote this, it made perfect sense to them. It was probably read by a lot of people before publishing. It went through several revisions, I assume, and no one thought, actually, this sounds pretty stupid. What can you do? He for she invites men and boys to build on the work of the women's movement as equal partners. How are they equal partners if it's called he for she? Now explain that to me. Crafting and implementing a shared vision of gender equality that will benefit all of humanity. More political speech which means absolutely nothing. Supporting women's role in peace and security. I'm gonna call it. With peace, they mean that women are peaceful and they are going to bring us peace if we put them at the table. And they're just gonna gloss over security because women's role in security, well, if you haven't noticed, in wartime it's still protect the women, protect the children. That's their role in security. We're talking about war peace, kind of. context. The international community has recognized that women's participation is vital to achieving and sustaining peace. Here we go! Here we go. Women's participation is vital. Yes, women, the peaceful, but down with gender stereotyping. And apparently women are proven agents of change. I think men also are proven agents of change, so this doesn't mean anything. Let's move on. He for she provides an opportunity to rebalance the representation of men and women in the peace process by engaging both sides of the table. Down with gender binary! But men are on this side of the table and women are on the other side of the table, and they're opposing sides of the table apparently, but down with gender binary! And then the mental image of empowering female leaders and working with men as advocates for change. And I just think some female leaders up there, and then there's a sea full of agents of change. So let's talk a bit about politics. Of course, they completely disregard the fact that there are fewer women in politics overall, so there are going to be fewer women in leadership positions. If there are fewer women, there are going to be fewer women. So they talk about some gatekeeping and whatever, but interesting bit is here, where men have prioritized gender equality, great results have followed. Where? You wouldn't go on the internet and just tell lies and cherry pick stuff, would you? I hope not. He or she engages male political leaders as catalysts for change across both public and private spheres, and provides targeted support for male leaders eager to engage in this work. What they mean is they're going to try to find suckers willing to listen to them and follow everything they say. They're just going to try to find those suckers, and those suckers are going to be their way in, and then they're just going to take over the world, in a manner of speaking. So something about gender-based violence as well, and of course they mean violence against women. Ending gender-based violence requires a comprehensive approach that engages every segment of society. As such, we all have a role to play. But it's he for she. The words are right next to each other. We all have a role to play, but it's he for she. All have a role to play, he for she. These things don't go together, it's right in front of you. He for she provides a platform through which, first and foremost, men and boys can prevent violence by observing and evolving their own attitudes, values and behaviors towards women and girls, ensuring that they do not personally engage in discrimination or violence. Their whole plan to reduce violence against women is to make sure that men and boys themselves look at stuff happening around them and look at their own attitudes and values, so that they themselves do not become discriminatory or violent. Because men, as we know, are these horrible potential rapists who are beating their wives non-stop, and it's just so ingrained into them, and they just can't help themselves from being violent, and the only way they can do it is make sure that they themselves personally do not become atomic bombs that explode all over the place. In cases where violence has already been perpetrated, men can, but not women, men can, through he for she, seek support to change their behaviors, breaking the cycle of violence. Men. They have a map where you can click on a country and they show how many commitments have been signed and how it's broken down by gender, so men, women and other, of course. And they have the priority issues, and they give some sort of a score on how important this issue is, how much work has to be done on this thing. And education and health are not very commonly high priority issues, and I would expect them not to be if this is a one-way street, which it looks like. I mean, from a gender equality perspective, if women are doing far better in education and have better health, it should be a gender equality priority issue, but it doesn't look like they care for the men's. And here we have the feminist capital of the world, Sweden. Education again is not a very high priority, but if you go and look at how well men and women are doing in education, whether there's a gap and which way that gap goes, it might be a bit different than you would expect from this low priority for it. And the interesting thing is, Sweden is the world's feminist capital, but they have a lot of work to do. Still, long ways to go. Especially on identity, work and violence, so you have to try harder, Sweden. Be the change. For many of us, classrooms are where we learn our first hard lessons about gender bias. Here are a few ways to help turn your school into an engine of opportunity for every student. The language. The language. This is about education. They have different categories. They have this kind of headlines and small tips and guidelines for all sorts of things. And the language they use is sometimes mind-blowing. What do you mean, engine of opportunity? What? That's not okay. What does it mean to act like a girl or like a man? Call out gender-biased language from students and instructors alike. Ask the speaker to think about how these comments reinforce gender stereotypes. How wonderful is that? You're creating a sea of agents of change. No haters. Online bullies want your silence. Enlist your friends and... Let's try. Enlist your friends and followers to send messages of support to victims of social media trolling. Instead of making them sure they know how to handle trolls or how to outlive the trolls, they're just gonna send them support. And maybe that support comes in dollars through Patreon. You'll help turn the internet into a safe space for everyone. Teacher. Empower educators to create equality in the classroom. Get the UNESCO Guide for Gender Equality in Teacher Education Policy and Practices, a step-by-step guide for including gender equality issues in teacher training. Indoctrinate. Violence. Every day in countries around the world, women and girls experience acts of violence ranging from online harassment to domestic assault and human trafficking. This has to stop. Very interesting that they have singled out women and girls. There's no men and boys. And they say this has to stop. Does that mean that it's okay for men and boys to experience acts of violence ranging from online harassment to domestic assault and human trafficking? So that's okay, and that doesn't have to stop? Be the change. We're gonna finish with this. You don't have to be a hero to join fight against gender-based violence, where they of course mean violence against women, but real change requires all of us to do what we can. Here are a few ways to be smart about being safe. First of all, no trolls. What happens online is everyone's business, unless it's private, in which case it's not everyone's business, it's who are there. It's called privacy, look it up. Report bullying and abusive comments immediately to a parent, teacher, or site administrator. Hey mom, someone was mean on the internet. How horrible, yeah? She doesn't care. Be a witness. Bring domestic violence out of the shadows. Document incidents of potential partner abuse in your building or neighborhood. Your notes will lend credibility to the victim's claims. Wow, that's absolutely horrible. What do you mean? Document incidents of potential partner abuse. It's potential. What do? You have a notebook, you hear someone scream, 5 p.m, a man beat woman scream. There's no credibility to those documented incidents. There's nothing to it. How can your notes lend credibility to the victim's claims? This is not credible evidence. Active bystander. Check in to help out. Simply asking, are you okay? May offer a potential victim a way out of a dangerous situation. Whether you should help someone on the street who might be in a dangerous situation is a long topic. Because, well, it might result in you getting your head smashed in, or one nice afternoon someone knocks on your door and it's apparently a guy with a knife and he's quite upset that your testimony put him in prison, and through the documents provided by the court he knows exactly where you live, and he doesn't like you. He just doesn't like you anymore. But enough about this. The whole website's filled with all sorts of interesting texts, and you have to read between the lines to have a good laugh. And then you're kind of scared because this is a big project, and a lot of money seems to be put into this, and they seem to have some sort of power and recognition, and they are known throughout the world, and this is the nonsense they put out. Kind of scary, yes, but that's enough for now. You know where to find me.